My husband raised his glass to toast me, and the woman standing 2 feet behind him, smiling at my cake, was the same woman whose perfume I'd found on his jacket 11 months earlier. 41 years of marriage, and Walter had the nerve to bring her to my retirement party. Not hide her. Not keep her in some other city, some other life. He walked her into the private room at Magnolia House, introduced her to my sister as a colleague from the Rotary Club, and let her stand close enough to him that I could see, from across the room, the exact way his hand found the small of her back. I smiled. I cut the cake. I did not say a word. My name is Patricia Sorrell. I'm 64 years old. I spent 36 years as a labor and delivery nurse at St. Agnes Regional, and Walter spent those same 36 years building a commercial insurance agency that made him, eventually, a man other men listened to at the country commercial club. We built a good life on paper. 4 acres outside Charleston, a boat he used twice a year, a daughter in Atlanta who called every Sunday. From the outside, nobody would have guessed a single thing was wrong. I found out about Renata Voss the way most wives find out. Not dramatically. Not with a slammed door. I found a hotel receipt folded into the zipper pocket of a garment bag while I was packing for a trip he wasn't taking with me. 2 nights at the Sanctuary on Kiowa, a room service charge for a bottle of Sancerre. My husband doesn't drink white wine. He's told me that for 40 years. I didn't confront him that day. I sat with it. I have delivered over 4,000 babies in my career, and if nursing teaches you anything, it teaches you that panic helps no one and information is the only thing that does. So I gathered information. It took me 6 weeks to learn her name, her position at his agency senior account manager, promoted 8 months earlier, a promotion I remembered him mentioning once, offhand, at dinner, and the fact that she was 31 years old, younger than our daughter. It took me 6 weeks to learn something else too, something Walter didn't know I knew, because Walter had never once, in 36 years, asked me a single detailed question about how our finances actually worked. He signed what I put in front of him. He trusted the wife who used to hold dying, premature infants at 3 in the morning to also hold the family's money with the same steady hands. What Walter didn't know was that 11 years ago, when his agency was 2 payrolls from collapsing during a bad hurricane season that gutted his claims reserves, it wasn't a line of credit from the bank that saved him. Walter told everyone at the club it was the bank. It wasn't. It was me. I had inherited a modest amount from my father, and rather than hand Walter a check with my name attached to it, which I knew even then he would resent every single day for the rest of our marriage, I opened a holding company, Coastal Bridge Partners, registered in Delaware with my attorney's associate listed as the managing member. Coastal Bridge extended Walter's agency, a 336 credit facility, secured against the agency's book of business and its office lease. On paper, an anonymous investor had believed in him when the bank wouldn't. Walter never asked who was behind Coastal Bridge. He was too relieved to ask. Men like Walter rarely look too closely at the hand that catches them. My attorney had also included a default provision if Walter used agency money for undisclosed personal expenses or exposed the business to serious legal or regulatory risk. Coastal Bridge could call the entire loan immediately. Full balance due, no grace period, no cure window. I'd asked for that clause the same year our daughter got married. I told my attorney I hoped I'd never need it. I meant that. I want you to understand. I meant that. For 11 years, that $340,000 facility had simply been the lifeline that kept Walter's agency alive. I had been his lifeline once. I wasn't going to be his shield forever. The retirement party was in April. Walter gave a toast about 36 years of partnership and did not once look at me while he said it. Renata Voss clapped along with everyone else, glowing, 27 years younger than the woman whose cake she was eating. I smiled through the whole thing. I hugged my colleagues. I let my sister take photos of me, holding my retirement plaque. And the following Monday, while Walter was at a golf outing with 3 of his biggest clients, I called my attorney. I told him it was time. What Renata didn't know, standing in that expensive dress at my party, was that 6 weeks earlier, I had also learned something else. Walter had used the agency's corporate card to book that hotel in Kiowa. Not once. 4 times over 8 months. Client dinners that were never client dinners. Golf trips that were never golf trips. It was all there, in the expense, reports Walter never imagined his wife would ever see, because his wife had retired from nursing, not from paying close attention. My attorney called the note on Coastal Bridge's $340,000 facility that Tuesday morning. Full. Balance due within 10 business days, per the signed agreement Walter himself had put his name on 11 years earlier without reading past the signature line. Walter called me from the office Tuesday afternoon, his voice doing something I hadn't heard in years. Fear, dressed up as confusion. He said an investment group was trying to bankrupt him. He said he needed my help understanding the paperwork, because I'd always been better with details than he was. He said this like it was. It was a compliment. I let the silence sit there for a moment. Before I told him, I knew exactly what Coastal Bridge Partners was. He asked how. I told him I owned it, had owned it for 11 years. That I had never once told him because I loved him enough not to make him feel small in his own success. The line went quiet. I counted to 15 before he said my name. I told him the money wasn't the point. The point was that I'd finally stopped protecting him from the consequences of his own choices. I told him I had 4 hotel receipts and 8 months of expense reports that didn't match a single client he'd actually billed, and that a forensic accountant retained by Coastal Bridge would be reviewing the agency's books within the week as a FAV, accountant retained, part of the standard default audit. Whatever the accountant found after that was no longer mine to soften for him. I told him I loved him for a very long time. That part was true, and I said it plainly, without apology, because a woman is allowed to have loved someone and still refuse to keep absorbing what that love cost her. Then I hung up. I expected the audit to confirm what I already had. The hotels, the dinners that were never dinners. I was prepared for that. What I was not prepared for was the call from the forensic accountant 9 days later, a careful, unhurried man named Ostrowski, who asked if I had a few minutes, and then told me there was something else I needed to see. Sue, half-bay. Nay, Walter hadn't just misused the corporate card. He had been quietly moving client premium payments Money policyholders had paid in, money that was supposed to sit in a trust account until it went to the insurers, into an operating account he used to cover the gap between his salary and the life he was funding for Renata. Nearly $90,000 over 2 years, dressed up in the books as processing delays. I sat with the phone against my ear for a long moment after Ostrowski finished. 36 years of trusting this man to sign what I put in front of him, and I had never once imagined he was. Jose, capable of something with an actual victim in it. Not me, not even Renata, but strangers who'd paid their premiums in good faith. I hadn't built the trap wide enough to have expected that. It was simply what fell into it. Within a month, the regulators had opened a formal investigation, and his license was suspended, pending the outcome. 2 of his biggest clients moved their business elsewhere within a week of the story reaching the club. Because that kind of thing always reaches the club. Renata resigned before she could be terminated. I heard secondhand that she was engaged to someone else within the year. I don't wish her ill. I think she believed a version of Walter that never really existed, same as I once did. Walter and I divorced that fall. Under South Carolina law, and given the fraud findings, the settlement did not favor him. He kept his boat. I kept the house on the 4 acres the house I'd actually paid off years earlier through coastal bridge distributions he never knew existed. I did not attend his license revocation hearing. My attorney went. He sent me one text afterward. Handled. It's over. I spent that winter doing something I hadn't done since nursing school. I took a watercolor class at the community center on Tuesday mornings, sitting next to a retired school teacher named Frances, who talks entirely too much and has become, somehow, one of my closest friends. I am not particularly good at watercolor. I am told that isn't really the point. My daughter flew in for Thanksgiving and cried at my kitchen table. Not for me, she said, but for the version of her father she'd believed in her whole life. I told her that grief was allowed to be complicated. I told her I was still working out my own. I still don't know what I'll say to Walter if he ever calls to talk. Really talk, instead of asking for something. I've thought about it on my morning walks along the marsh trail, and I haven't landed on an answer that satisfies me. Some things don't resolve into a tidy sentence. I've made my peace with that too. What I know at 64, walking the same trail 3 mornings a week, is this: I spent 36 years being the steady one, the quiet one, the one who caught everyone else when they fell. I am not angry that I was that person. I am only sorry it took a hotel receipt and a garment bag to teach me that being steady for someone does not obligate you to stay invisible to protect them. I built something of my own a long time ago, quietly, without needing credit for it. It turns out that was never really about Walter's business. It was about learning, 11 years before I needed to know it, that I could stand on my own,